Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is the perpetuating the revolving door syndrome, or the continuation of a syndrome that we've noted in the penal system of individuals coming into the system, leaving the system, and yet returning to the system again. And we have with us to talk about the perpetuating of the revolving door syndrome, an activist, Reverend KWalker, who has been on many occasions with us, Reverend Walker, and I don't think we have to explain you to our guests, nor your task to our guests, because I think you are one of the foremost authorities in terms of what we're talking about today. Individuals themselves going into the system and coming out and eventually ending up in the system again. And so let's start off by talking about your background, your education, and some of the things that were important that brought you to us this morning to talk about this as a real issue.
Okay, well, thank you once again, Dr. Haney. It's always a pleasure to be on your show because you are a person that really deal with some real issues, and I appreciate the format that you have out here and make available to us to come on here and talk about these issues. My name is KWalker. I pastor the Hands of God Christian Church. I've been in ministry since 1986. The Lord delivered me from a 17-year drug addiction, and throughout that time of my addiction, I did spend time in the state prison system, came out unrehabilitated, ended up reincarcerated again, and but in '86 God changed all of that and called me from active drug addiction, a lifestyle of crime and all kind of foolishness directly into the ministry. And in that calling, I developed a passion for people that are lost and people that are actually still involved in negative lifestyles. I'm born here in Nashville, Tennessee, educated in the public school systems, spent a little time with TSU, also did some college studies while I was incarcerated until they cut that out in the system, because I guess I was bettering myself. They didn't want that to happen. So they cut that out, and of course under the Trevecca East Campus prison program. But never did graduated, don't have any degrees in anything, but basically just a measure of knowledge from a lot of life experiences that I have myself personally. And that brings me to the point, where I am today in terms of wanting to reach out and make a difference, in the world in which I have to live in, and my children have to live in, my grandchildren have to live in, and just trying to make it a better place by addressing and attacking and challenging some of the issues that I believe don't solve problems, but in effect create the problem that it's supposed to be solving. And that's why we, on here today to talk about this particular situation about, perpetuating the revolving door syndrome and dealing with the state prison system. Very good.
When we look at the whole issue of crime in America, one of the things I think that we can always say is that African Americans make up a large percentage of the ex-offender population, and as well as the incarcerated population. And let's look at some of the reasons that folks have often become involved in so much crime.
Well, first of all, it's very frightening when you look at the amount of Black Americans in the country, in America, as in comparison to the numbers that are incarcerated and that are now ex-offenders and the like. But there's not just one single reason for crime in America. It could range from just straight out need. Somebody don't have the necessary things, don't know how to get it other than committing the crime when they do it. It could be the environment, could be drugs and alcohol. Some people just low down dirty, they just commit crimes, you know what I'm saying? They just do it, So there's a number of reasons why people commit crimes, but my thing is, once they do commit a crime, they do go through the judicial system, they are adjudicated, they are sentenced, they're tried, sentenced, and they're convicted, and they go into the prison system. Now, the purpose of the prison system is, number one, to punish you for what you did. And I believe if you commit a crime, just like I did, I should have been punished. When I went to prison, I supposed to have been there because I was a criminal with a criminal thought process that dictated that I should be in prison. So there's crime, and then at the same time, there's rehabilitation. So my thing is, if I'm in there for punishment, now, the time served in the prison system will constitute the punishment. Now, what I do while I'm in there, how I spend that time in terms of availing myself to the various programs that's in there, that's what's considered as rehabilitation. Well, the problem is those things oftentimes are overlooked, and we don't get the recognition for the rehabilitation, but it's always about the punishment when it comes to the parole system.
And so you believe that we ought to put more, as we get ready for the first commercial break, you believe that we ought to have more emphasis upon rehabilitation more than upon punishment, and that is one of the places that we fall short.
It's not that we should have more emphasis on rehabilitation, but we should recognize and acknowledge that aspect of that process more so than we are just the punishment phase, because eventually who goes to prison gets out.
Okay, and of course we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break.